All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the NAV Lab. Today we have our guest, Janey Hawley. Excited to have you on today. Yeah, let's get right into it. I like to call this your origin story. So, how'd you get to where we are now? Where are you from? How'd you get started in marketing?
Yeah. Originally from Houston, moved to Oklahoma, went to high school and college there. So, small little town where I would say Conoco was created. So, oil and gas, big time. I actually really loved growing up there. It was a fun town. But went to college in Oklahoma City and then actually moved to the Bay Area for a little bit, which I really enjoy, the Bay Area in California. And then after that was Colorado. We decided to move here. My best friend had moved here, who is now my business partner. So good move on my part, I would say. But we just decided to move here because we came to visit. And so for literally like 1 month later, we moved. We came to visit, and that was it. And we're like, cool, we're done. And then, yeah, and I mean, hate to say it, but like the housing market was way better here too. So, and then after that, I mean, I've been in so many roles in the realm I was in. I went to college for art. And of course, that just comes with being a starving artist once you pay for college. And then I was like, okay, well, while I was in college, I was working for multiple restaurants, and I just ended up really becoming the person who puts on a lot of networking events. I would just build relationships with people. One networking event got my chef, who was a raw vegan chef, and he still is, onto TED Talks. So I thought that was a super successful thing as like a 21-year-old. So I was like, okay, cool. I could actually like do marketing maybe if this is what this is called. And I just started educating myself on a lot of that, but definitely stayed in the restaurant realm for a very long time up until the pandemic.
Okay. So, in the restaurant realm, how did you go from what you were doing into marketing, I guess?
Yeah. So whenever I was working for one group, which was actually here, they had me as a creator. They had me doing catering, and I was doing their events. So I managed all their catering events in the Colorado area. I loved it. Super fun. It's very exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been a wedding planner, so that's exhausting as well. And I just was really discovering that they didn't have all the tools that I really needed to do the sales, to make sure that, people really knew what we were doing. And so I created a deck. And in that, basically, I just created all the opportunities that they had that they were missing on in order to build the business and grow further. Because when your paycheck is only sales, of course, I'm going to try to get as many as I can. So I presented this to them. They have multiple restaurants all over the country, so this wasn't just their only location. And they were like, cool, now you're our director of marketing, thanks. So I ended up doing that. I still kept doing a lot of the catering side, so I was wearing two hats, if you will. But that's kind of how that started.
Okay, cool. As someone who got married relatively recently, and I worked at a winery in college, and there was weddings there every weekend. I always joke that like if real estate doesn't work out, like going into that industry, because it's crazy. It's a huge industry. It is definitely hard, and everyone who puts on the show has to work really hard. But it's I think it's rewarding for the most part. That's really cool, though. So you said deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by presented a deck?
Yeah, so that's really just something that, I mean, we do it now today in our marketing firm, but it's just a creation of like, here's, your scope. Here's basically everything you're currently doing. Here's what you could be doing better. And then here's probably what your results will be. So it's just a presentation, mostly usually a PowerPoint. You can create it on, a Canva or something, but you essentially are showcasing, because a lot of people, when you're showcasing them, they don't have those marketing minds. So you kind of also have to take a deep dive into what all these things are going to be able to do for you. So that's what I presented to them, just really showing like, here's everything you're doing. Here's how we can make it better.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you do that,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happens next?
And then I become their director of marketing.
Okay.
But then, of course, the pandemic happened. So being in the restaurant realm was not the best place to be, as a lot of us know. I can tell you right now, the restaurant world, almost everyone, and there are stats on this, everyone who's currently in the restaurant realm, a lot of them they were doing something, like they were brand new students, but if you were in the restaurant realm in like 2020, you're now selling insurance or doing real estate or something. Like you're doing something completely different, because all of us figured out like the pandemic really hurt everyone's jobs.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I didn't sit there and cry. I figured it out,
Okay.
which I think a lot of these people did.
Cool. So that's how Fat Bird was born. So tell us a little bit, what is Fat Bird?
Yeah.
Um,
So
what's
we're
your role there? All that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO. I like to just call myself a career evangelist because I feel like CEO is just so stiffy a little. And essentially, our firm. So again, I started just by creating or going back to some of the old relationships I had and letting them know, especially the restaurants, saying like, "Hey, how are you going to keep your business during the pandemic?" So I started helping a lot of restaurants, a lot of local businesses market themselves online. So our firm, we really believe in relationship building. So we've never actually had to go find our own business. Everything has always been word of mouth, which I feel very lucky that that's the case. So we teach that now. We create pieces and put things in place so other companies can also experience that. The world of social media is just so crazy right now, and it is a whole nother relationship with other people. So instead of having those one-on-one relationships, now you can talk to a giant audience, which has been that way forever, but the pandemic really just took it to like 200 more levels. So our firm creates packages. We're a fractional marketing firm, so everything we do is very cookie cutter to what the need is of the client, if you will. So if the client just needs a website and new branding, and then we're going to do that for them. But now they're like, okay, well, how do I market it? How do I use all these pieces? We will take that further. We'll teach them, or we'll do it for them. So everything from newsletter marketing to social media to working with outside contractors that they have hired to make sure that they're doing and understanding what's working for them. So we really just come in as that role of like the CMO within a company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So marketing wise, I mean, since you've been doing that full time, let's say since 2020, what do you think the biggest changes are when it comes to marketing or just online marketing or for a business specifically?
I would say AI, big time. Right now, I would say that's my answer. Artificial intelligence has changed the amount of time it takes to just have a creation and put it online. Now we want to make sure that we're keeping in touch with our audience and not just making something just to make it and put it out there. There are advantages to organic SEO. There's other things that are advantages to just getting information out there. But also, I would say just the biggest changes is, and I was talking to actually one of your agents recently about this, but why do I have to be online when I could just go meet someone? Well, the basically you have a whole untapped audience that's everywhere, and you can get one message out to all of them versus having to meet them all in person, which, don't get me wrong, meeting people in person, that's the strong suit, go and do it. So biggest changes are talk to that online audience and enjoy them and nourish that relationship. I think we always had these profiles, but now we're really getting into the why behind how am I marketing myself and my business within that versus just posting a beer.
Yeah.
I think the why behind it is really just one of the biggest changes, and using those tools like Canva, using the tools like AI. These tools are out there that will make your life so much easier, and that's going to be probably the biggest difference, is just knowing, here's all the tools I have, how do I put a system in place to make my marketing easier for myself. So the tools are probably the biggest change, honestly.
Okay. Cool. So I like to think about, when we're marketing for the company, it's a little bit different than marketing for the agent. And then there's all sorts of things you can market for, right? Not just your real estate business. What businesses do you think are similar to real estate in that aspect?
Yeah, real estate, of course, lenders, but that's also real estate. Honestly, overall, if you're not just someone who has a big sale all the time, it's relationship marketing. So really many businesses are that answer. And whenever we're explaining social media to our client and marketing in general, it's how do you want to represent yourself? And most of our clients, especially the ones we're working with, is they want to build relationships, and they want their audience to feel like they're a meaningful creative company or something. Whatever their tone is and their mission is, we want to make sure that that's the top of line. So when it comes to, that's a hard question, because I feel like most of the clients that come to us, their goal is, I want to I want to build a better, relationship online. I want this and this and this. And most of it's always in line with how we already do our marketing. So that could go 100 ways. The blue collar community also, every single one of them are like, oh, well, this guy's doing this and this person's doing that. Should I do it the same way? The answer is always going to be no, because you're different and you should be doing it your way and how your audience is responding. So, I mean, I would say in the real estate realm, there's a lot of similarities across the board. It's on the recipe it is, because there's recipes for how to like do specific things, but everyone's audience is different. And I will say in the real estate realm, you are competing with so many other agents, and that's probably the hardest part. If I were to compare that, I'd compare it to roofing, because they are competing with so many other roofers.
Yeah.
But real estate agents are a lot more personalized. Roofing, it's, you're going to need a roof, you need a roof. Does that make sense? It's just like so different.
I think timing wise too with roofing, you need a new roof. In Colorado, it's every like 3 to 5 years a big hailstorm comes through, so that's the only time you ever think of your roofer. But in that 3 years, how much marketing did you get from every roofer in the city? So that's a good comparison. When it comes to real estate agents, I think of marketing in a couple of different ways, because you can market yourself to get new clients. Right? These are people you've never met. You're saying something that catches their attention. But I think there's a lot of competition for that. And then I think there's marketing to, your past relationships that maintain relationships, right? Maybe it's, you have a Facebook pixel that hits every person that's ever worked with you or has ever been to your home search website, right? And now every time they're scrolling their Facebook, they see a video of yours or whatever. Even if you're not friends on Facebook, they'll get the ad or something like that, and it just kind of reinforces. And that's just one of like many ways. But I think something that a lot of real estate at the end of the day, it's just relationships. And I think now it's much easier to maintain those relationships with a less amount of work if you're doing the right marketing.
Yep.
And you're staying it's really just staying top of mind, right?
Exactly.
20 years ago, the way you stay top of mind is you called all your people, once a month, right? And I don't think a lot of agents do that anymore. Some do, and we all probably should. but there's easier ways, right? It's an email list. It's whatever it is, and then also providing value. So that was kind of the third thing that I think about is like in your marketing, how are you providing value? How are you speaking to a specific audience? So I wanted to ask you, in real estate specifically, what do you think is most important for an agent, not a brokerage, to be doing to stay either top of mind or just to grow their brand in general?
Well, I mean, as we all know, social media is just a really great tool. I would absolutely, as you said, and you took the words right out of my mouth, staying top of mind is literally the best thing to do. When you're staying top of mind, you're posting. You're constantly making sure that your audience knows that you're here. You are a resource. And I think that really is just the best thing to do, is become that resource for them on many levels, not just the real estate world, because then you've built a relationship with them ultimately. Hey, I really want to take my parents out to eat and it's in the specific neighborhood. Who should I ask? If you're that real estate agent that they're thinking of, you're probably going to get all their listings too. Yeah. So staying top of mind, constantly posting. It's weird to say, and making sure your posts are meaningful too, because at the end of the day, if they are all just this random, quick information that isn't really related to your audience, then it's going to get passed over and it's actually not going to help you. So you want to have really good information, and it isn't that hard. It could be something funny. It could be, it doesn't have to be extremely hey, here's a pre-listing checklist, or here's this, or here's all these really important things you might need, but also showing your, personality and things like that. So that comes with constantly posting. It comes with making sure that, if you're sending out a newsletter to your, an email newsletter over to your audience, and giving them some great information. And, stats can be really great. It's really important to make sure you tell them about the certain things, but also what's going on in open this email, and then you're thinking, where did I get that info? So being the expert and posting as much as you can, and then on top of that, when you are getting any type of comment on social media, anyone liking anything like that, respond. So being really responsive and active on social is going to really help. But marketing too, the networking side of it, just attending networking events, going and being in front of people is also just one of the key things. Posting about that event. Where are you? Tagging the location, tagging, giving that actual group that you're with some, more love online. All of those little things are just going to help your profile. It's going to help your relationship, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It's interesting to think about marketing from both sides, and it really is just like it's work. I think, and I come back to this a lot, is like, real estate, and we keep bringing up COVID, since 2020 was pretty freaking easy. You couldn't walk 10 feet without finding someone who wanted to buy a house. Interest rates were basically zero, and now it's not like that. So I think a lot of agents are realizing that there is a lot of work to be done compared to in the last few years. And an easy thing you can do, or not easy, but the first thing you should be doing, in my opinion, is marketing. And I remember I went to a class. This was probably before COVID. This was like maybe a year before COVID. There was an agent there that did $20 million a year in sales, and he kind of broke down what he did. He doesn't buy leads, doesn't do anything like that. He basically created a VIP list with all his past clients, right? So 50 people that he markets to, and he stays in touch with, and stays top of mind with, and provides value to, and takes to dinner, and that's like his mailing list, right? It's the people that he knows that likes him, enjoy the experience with him, and have bought and sold homes with him, and are also going to tell everyone they know what a good job he does, and so he's going to get referrals like that. And I'd never really thought about it, but he said something that I stole, that I've been saying since then, is he treats himself as a network. He's like, I'm the network. If you need someone, you come to me, right? If you need marketing, you come to Bo. If you need good restaurant in your neighborhood, if you need an accountant, a plumber, a contractor, a painter, you name it. Like, he doesn't necessarily provide lists of those people. He's like, hey, those lists are always changing. Someone does a great job, I add them to my list. Someone does a terrible job, I take them off my list. So just make sure you call me when you need someone. I've got it for you. So I stole that, right? And so all my clients at closing, that's a conversation I make sure that I have. But one thing that I've done a pretty terrible job is of staying in touch with those people. And that's why I'm so excited about what we're doing now. And just to kind of speak on some of the things that you've been helping us with. I set up through some systems you showed us, just like an email. I created a VIP list, all that stuff, and I've already got a client out of it. And this happened on Monday. I sent out the email. I just created like a March Madness email, created my own little bracket competition, said I would give $100 to the winner, send it out to all my VIP list past clients, and within like, I don't know, 2 hours of them getting the email, I got a text, hey, I've got a friend moving here from California, I'd like to give them your information. I was like, yes, please. Already heard from them. So it's
that's awesome.
It's worth the 30 minutes I took to build it in Canva and MailChimp and do all those things that you've been helping us with. So in my opinion, it's exceeded the amount of work I put in it by 100x. Now we'll see if I get to closing or not, see if I get more people, but hopefully I can be consistent in doing those things. Is there anything that comes to mind that real estate agents can be doing in terms of video content? How do you feel about those posts that are like a a pre-listing checklist type thing versus, someone on camera that's actually saying those things, like, do one do better than the other? How do you feel about those things?
I think it goes both ways. With your audience, it's always good to have a visual. Visuals are really great, and video goes right into that. So even when you do have a video of you explaining X, Y, and Z, I would assist it even with a visual. Hey, it's going to be this next post. Make sure you save it, click like, etc. Kind of giving them that excitement. So of course, both is better. Video is killer though. The world of video is awesome. I think being able to see someone's face, being able to hear how they speak is it just goes a long way. It also can go on so many more platforms, which also helps. So, you have TikTok video, you have YouTube Reels, that's a video. You have all of these realms of video is so much stronger than not. So I would always suggest have a video for sure. And if you want to add, a piece that's just a visual that goes with it, that's fine. Now, here's the thing. Do we have time to make all the video all the time? No one has time. That's why you hire people to do it. But also, it can be really quick, actually. It can actually be quicker to take a quick video than to build something. But one thing that you all are doing is you're creating templates for your team, which is really, really great. / we're creating templates for your team, but those things are easy. They can grab it, they can post really quick, but if they're speaking to it, it's going to be so much stronger. And you get to know the personality of the person you are working with, because a home is quite possibly one of the most personal things you're going to do outside of probably your wedding day. Like, I think your home is even stronger of something that you're going to have to purchase from someone, and that's a relationship, hopefully it just keeps on going. So personally, I love it when there's video. I think it's so much stronger. It just comes down to people getting nervous, people, not wanting to talk on camera, etc. But just like if you treat it like a conversation, and the more and more you do it, it gets so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, that's me speaking personally. I get on camera all the time now, and it used to take me 30 takes to get through one message. And now I sit down, one take, cool, glad that worked, and then off to do the thing. But kind of the point you were making, I mean, even just a post, right? It's like, do it once.
Yeah.
It's going to take you a long time. And I relate it back to in real estate, like the first time you write your contract for a client, it takes you 2 hours to write the contract. Yeah. Now I can write a contract in 3 minutes.
Nice.
Like, and it's done. It's perfect. Like, no mistakes. Not going wood. But I've done it so many times that it's just so easy now. And every time I did it, it gets faster and faster and faster, to where even now with like social media stuff, it's templates. It's, I pre-created all the hashtags I want to use, right? I just got to write in the 2 sentences or click a button and have AI write it in 2 seconds. And then, especially with the software that you guys have hooked us up with, it's so simple.
Yeah.
But if you've never done it, it seems very daunting and hard, right? Like, and so I think about, you just have to try it.
You do.
Just one time.
I mean, you did. You already got a client out of it, the
Already
March
got a
Madness
client.
piece. Like,
Right.
I love what you said, too, earlier about the 50 people that you kind of said that you stole from one of your friends, how, like, not the people, but the saying. I think nourishing those 50 clients, and just even starting with 20, nourishing those relationships in, within social, but even outside of social. I think what you said there was so, so smart, because those are your really warm leads, and those are your really great relationships. And if they can give you 5 people each, right? Like, that has now turned into so much more.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right? And it's like all you did was spend so much, instead of spending time like having to throw the net out and hopefully catching like 2 fish, you already have 20. Go ahead and like nourish those 20 as much as you can. Yep. Sales 101 too, like, if you go and ask for 1 lead from one person, they'll usually give it to you. If you ask for 5, they won't. They're just like, oh, that's too much work right now.
Yeah.
But if you ask for 1, and so if you have 20 people, you ask for 1, now you have 40. It's that simple. And it's just a conversation. Hey, I'm in the real estate realm. I'm really excited to be here. I just joined NAV. I love it so much. Hey, I really want to tell you some more things. Do you have someone that like I would be able to like talk to about that? It's just so simple.
It is, but no one wants to do it.
I know, but it is so simple.
Yeah, it's just a question, know. And if they say no, who cares, right?
Exactly.
Call them in 6 months. See if that answer changed.
Hey, you want to go get some? Go out and get some wine. I found this new winery. It's in this neighborhood that I heard you like.
Yep. Gosh, I just keep coming back to like With real estate or even my own business, right? I'm not from here. I grew up
Hmm.
in Virginia. I came out here one time and was like, okay, I'm living there.
Yeah.
And when I got here and started doing real estate, like I didn't know anyone. Um, my first couple deals were to friends who trusted me for some odd reason. My first deal ever, he actually ended up becoming an agent and working with us for a while. But a lot of my business came from online leads, right? And the way my business has ran for the most part for 7-8 years is through fueling it with online leads. And I think a lot of agents, it's kind of a trap to do that if that's all you're doing,
Hmm.
because if those online leads ever go away, what are you going to do?
The water has been shut off.
Right. So just like you were saying, if I can take all those online leads and now turn them into my referral business, which is what I've done,
Hmm.
um, now, yes, I paid for those leads. I paid at closing or I paid up front. However, I got those leads, but those leads have paid for themselves 10 times over. If I get one closing out of it, if I get
Hmm.
two closings out of it, because now I went from one person to two people,
Yeah.
right? And now I can market to two people, and then those two people give me two people, so now I have four people, and that's how you grow a business. And I think a lot of people kind of lose sight of that, of like, using real estate as an example, is like, this is a business and it takes a lot of hard work. But I do think at a point, like, it can literally grow exponentially
For sure.
if you're just maintaining your relationships and staying top of mind. And the easiest way to do that is through some sort of marketing,
Hmm.
right? It's engaging with people, it's providing value. And I do think that there are awesome systems and processes you can implement that seem hard at first, but
Hmm.
once you start doing it, it becomes a lot easier, that can grow your business for a long time and keep it growing forever.
Yeah.
So we've been working with you guys for a few months now, and the coolest thing I think, besides just chatting with you and learning from you, is the marketing suite. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, and
Yeah.
how did that even get started, honestly?
Well, that's a funny story. When things don't work, what do? You try to make it your own. We ended up having software that we used outside, and it was like a third party software, like so many times for posting, for scheduling social, and at
Like
one
Hootsuite or
yeah, we didn't actually use that, but like Content Cal's the one we used, and no one knows what that is now, because Adobe bought them. Thanks Adobe, and then Adobe cut out all the agency tools.
okay.
Yeah, so not cool. And that we used other, which is fine. I mean, Adobe did what they had to do. But the agency tools were kind of away for a minute, and so we were just like, what do we do? And so we were kind of getting tired of that. I feel like it just kept happening. We would use a tool and then it didn't work for us on some level because the API out there wasn't allowed. You weren't allowed to do certain things because of the specific API. I can't talk today. But all of those pieces just kept happening to us. So we worked with a software development company where we created this specific platform, which we absolutely love, and then we can actually take it and implement it in other companies. So we were using it ourselves. We created our own brand for it. We call ours Chirp Meow. And then if you use that, which we have clients that just use it and they love it, but then other companies can then wrap their names on it. They can put their contact information on it. They can make it their own, which is really great for a brokerage like yours. You have so many agents, and each agent can use their own and have their own profile. And so this is a system where you can share, you can utilize Canva within it, which is really lovely. You can upload RSS feeds. So if you have a podcast, all of these pieces that create automations, there's AI built in, which has been created with ChatGPT. So it's just really a system that we knew how much we liked it, and we were just using it internally for our clients. And then we were like, oh, I think our clients might want to use this. And When you're in Canva now, that's our design tool. So what is that doing with your newsletters? Is it easy to post a newsletter? Things like that. So just like you said with your March Madness piece, you developed the image in Canva, right? And then you posted it. It talked to your MailChimp. So all of those things are kind of just systems we've put in place. But I would say like definitely like the NAV social suite that you guys are using we use it for ourselves, and so we've decided, and I think that was about a year ago, to be like, cool, everyone else needs this too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I haven't used it as much as I should because I look at it from both sides, right? From the company side and then from my personal side. So yeah, I'm one of those agents that just I've got to start doing it.
Yeah.
Cool. So Chirp Me Out is the name of it?
That's the name.
See, I thought it was just NAV Social Suite.
It's yours. Yours is NAV Social Suite.
Right. So all the agents on the team have access to this, which is awesome. Some people are using it like crazy, others are not. But I think it's just lost opportunity. And I have used it for a couple posts so far, and it took me like 5 minutes total.
Nice.
I did like it just sold, and then a couple other marketing posts have went out, maybe videos of the podcast and things like that. But it's awesome.
Nice.
I hope that we get more buy-in. I know a lot of our new agents, since when they start, they're if I'm training them or whatever, I'm showing them like, hey, you got this, like grow your brand, and I think right now with all the confusion in real estate and in the market, and I think the people who have the biggest brand are the ones that are going to come out on top. And, I think about it in terms of like in Denver in general, like there's only a couple agents who have like a big personal brand, which leads me to my next question. How do you feel about do you think it's more difficult to grow like a company brand versus a personal brand? I've got my own thoughts on it just from, working with our team and company profiles and things like that versus a personal one. I don't know. In my opinion, I think people like to follow along with someone like a person. Is there any truth to that?
I would say absolutely. Okay. In the real estate realm, where you are having a very personal connection with someone, and I mean, to protect you even as an agent, have your own brand. It's really important to have your own brand. Celebrate who you're with. If you're with a specific brokerage, be proud of that brokerage, but you should absolutely have your own moment and be personalized within that, and that'll follow you anywhere you go. And you're going to look so much better if you have to move to New York City and they look at your brand and they notice how great you're doing and you have to go to a different brokerage, right? You're going to look better to that brokerage. So I think in general, nourish what you are doing within the personal side of your brand. I think it's so important, and be proud of where you're at too, and utilize the tools that are right in front of you, which we mentioned. But I think absolutely, what is the relationship like that you're going to have with someone? It's personal, so then you should be nourishing that.
Yeah, cool. So last question for you: where do you see marketing going? I mean, is it TikTok? Is it a new platform? I know Twitter is about to start competing with YouTube with their video platform. What do you think?
It's not Twitter anymore.
Or X, sorry. Yeah, I don't have Twitter or X.
I know.
I need to get with the time.
I hate to say it, I also don't. We have clients that do. Where's it going? I don't honestly it's going to go 100 different ways. I think AI is changing that for us, whether we like it or not. But personally, the things to change the actual question, I know where it's going to stay. It's always going to be a relationship. That's literally where it's going to stay. It's what is your relationship with X, Y, and Z. But also, how are you showing up online? Are you the highest search amount? But how many people are you competing with? So I think at the end of the day, that's always going to be that way. You're going to be competing with every single real estate agent and lender too, because that's the same realm that you're searching. So, I mean, the change is it's going to get easier. Someone's going to keep developing some type of application that you're going to have to be on because it's made it easier. And I think your phone will never go away. Your phone is going to be the thing that is just sitting in front of you where you can post or not post, which it's not that. I don't want to be on my phone all the time. Do you?
I certainly don't.
No, and I think
But I am.
Yes. I'd rather be on the phone having a conversation with someone. I'm not going to lie. I'm done with email. Y'all, I don't love email. But at the end of the day, I think you can also decide what you want, what tools you want to use, what you want to, how far you want to go. And then if you don't want to do it, the greatest thing is that there are marketing firms out there. There are people who can help you. So I don't know. I think really that's such a hard question because it's all just going to be the relationships you build. That's literally it. And deciding how you want to nourish them. If it's like you said, you're getting 100 leads from, a specific platform because you were doing like that online digital marketing. Or is it cool, this guy moves 20 times a year, I would rather have them and the whole company that he works for be my referral. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I would rather use LinkedIn as to find out who just got a new job. I'm going to go and like send them a congratulations for getting that job because they're in my network and they're local. Mm-hmm. It's just like, how could you use it? So I think that's the change, is how you're using it.
Yeah. I'm definitely a consumer. Mm-hmm. I find myself consuming a lot of content instead of making the content. Like if I spent 1/5 of the time I spent consuming content, making content, mm-hmm. I would probably be the most popular realtor in the world because I consume a lot. Yeah. I heard it recently, like, not to change the subject, but like practice being bored.
Yeah.
I try to do that now because like every time I'm bored, I just pull out my phone and I start scrolling. Next thing I know, half an hour's went by and I'm like, God, what did I just do? Like it just, and then I do it again 2 hours later. Yeah. It's horrible. Cool. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you for your marketing services, what's a good way?
Yeah, you can go to our website, fatbirdmarketing.com, and just go to contact, and my number's on there, but also there's a little form you can fill out and we can reach out.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think we have a training here in like 20 minutes.
We do.
But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. We've got a lot of awesome guests coming soon, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.